9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
What is up? What's up?
Hey, I decided to hop on for a little bit. Welcome to this edition of Battle Hawk Live, B-Hawk Live, that is. A-Train Arlington Lane. Hey, glad to be in for Dirty for just a little while he's getting himself together. He'll be here in just a little bit. I decided to hop on for a little moment. Up, you see you can see the golden arches in the back, so you kind of know where I am right now as we speak. I'm at a McDonald's, so I grabbed a little bit of food. Had to grab me a little bit of food before, I got started. And I talked to a man and said, "Hey, let me go and hop on real quick with the people. We got some special guests in the house tonight. Is that right, Amanda?"
Mm-hmm.
I got to bring one of them on. Of course, he's our newest resident of B-Hawk Live to the team, Mr. Ed himself, Daddy Ed. Hey, good evening to you, sir.
How you doing?
Great to have you back on again, man. And we got a win this week. We got a win this week.
Much needed win.
Exactly. Much needed win for that, and a big one coming up this weekend where I am. I'm in Houston, so it's a big one coming up. Houston and St. Louis. I'm a little torn right now.
I was gonna say, do we need to go straight to the picks?
I don't know. I can't do it right now. But all I can say is a 29-6 victory over the Vegas Vipers this past week, and I applauded the play of AJ McCarron, 19 straight completions at one point. He's 23 of 29 for 236 and 3 touchdowns. So it's kind of the game that we wanted to see from him, and like literally has now kind of put himself. Well, he's already been in it, but it's like his rankings is going above and beyond.
Oh no!
All right.
Why is there an echo?
Because of Dirty.
No, it was
all right.
Before. It's still there.
Let's bring hey, go ahead and introduce. You got the special guest, right?
No, I got it.
Where did he go?
Why is there an echo? I gotta figure that out. I can hear myself echoing.
Hey, Dirty, where are you? Come on back in, sir.
Oh.
I gotta go. Y'all go ahead. Continue on. Bring in the special guest, man.
Hey guys.
Hey guys, what's happening? Here.
Y'all look familiar.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, we hang out on away games.
You're not gonna sing "Happy Birthday" for me?
Well, you got to walk in the door.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. I forgot.
It's kind of funny when after we left Murphy's for like the next 2 days. That's all my wife and I did was look at each other and do that chant.
Happy birthday.
And then it was da 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 da. It wasn't. There's no words.
Hey. Yeah, you just make them up as you go.
So, you guys, are you excited for this Sunday?
We're fired up.
Yeah.
Gonna get a little pregame tailgate party out in the back of Murphy's, and then the back, and then go inside and get our Battle Hawks to victory.
That's right. So if everyone doesn't know, we are going to do a tailgate at Murphy's on 21 this Sunday, starting at 10:30. So come out, and it's the last away game for the St. Louis Battlehawks. So y'all got to come support at Murphy's on 21. And what better people than Ron and Jeff right here Literally, they are the life of the party. Let me tell you. You're gonna get KAW, okay? Yeah, you're gonna get Battle and Hawks. Yep, you're gonna get it all, and it's gonna be a great time. So, what do you guys have in store for us?
Well, we're going to start off with we're going to bring hamburgers and hot dogs, and I think Dirty's going to bring some as well. He's bringing his grill out and Blackstone, and then we've got the buns being donated. We got some other people bringing some sides, and I guess if anybody wants to join in, bring some sides.
Bring a side,
or if you want
bring some meat and throw it on the grill with Dirty there. So so it's room for everybody.
And all we ask is purchase your drinks from Murph.
Yeah, that's awesome. So in case you guys don't know, we're Murphy 21.
We're gonna have to slap Dirty upside his head because
He finally muted himself. Amen.
He's making all kind of noise.
Okay, so
Oh,
Murphy's
God.
on 21. If you guys don't know where it is, here's the address. It is 13226 Tesson Ferry Road, St. Louis, Missouri 63128. Again, that's starting at 10:30. And we will be having drinks in the parking lot starting at 10:30.
Around back.
Around the back.
Yeah, around the back. Yep.
Yep.
And you guys seriously are going to be in for a really good time before the game.
We're going to have a ball out there and then take it right on inside.
Take it right on inside, and if anybody shows up and it's their birthday or not their birthday, they're going to get it sung to them.
Or their anniversary, or you name
Anniversary,
it.
yeah. we'll make it up as we go. We're gonna have a vote in there. Okay, next people come in. Is it their anniversary or birthday? We're gonna guess.
Great. Doesn't matter what day of the week it is. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It doesn't matter. Oh my gosh. Yeah, my parents were singing it the whole way to the car.
Yeah, awesome.
Especially once we knew it bugged Amanda. Then we just kept doing it continuously.
Well, we're going to do a lot more of that.
A lot more.
No, y'all were a great time. Loved it.
We're looking forward to Sunday. It's gonna be a great day. And like I said, we're Murphy's been really spearheading a lot of our watch parties and the parking lot, the tailgating. So anything we could do to take care of him. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and shout out to Murphy too. He has been very awesome with us at B-Hawk Live and the X-Fan Show, and with all of you guys in support too, and support of the Battlehawks with all of us coming out. So shout out to Murph too for that. That's been great, and all of his bartenders as well have been very accommodating and very supportive to us, which is great too. So yeah, we really appreciate him there.
Awesome.
It's supposed to be a beautiful day too.
I know. I'm ready. Yeah, hopefully, sunshine and some cocktails.
That's right.
Some barbecue.
So I'll make sure I have my vocal cords ready for you guys.
Yeah, rest up.
Yeah, I will.
You got a lot of singing to do.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. Now your other friend, he's missing. Where's he? The other one.
Which friend is that?
Chris.
Oh,
yeah,
Chris.
yeah. He couldn't make it up. He lives down in Imperial,
and he actually has a job. We're us retired guys. We kind of do whatever we want.
He said he actually has a job. He actually
has to work for a living still.
Yeah.
We'll tell him we're looking forward to seeing him too.
Oh, he should be watching now.
Well, he'll be watching now, but he may be camping.
Oh yeah, he's going to come in late because he's
he'll be camping over the weekend, but he'll
be there sometime.
We'll get him there sometime, and we'll get him involved.
That sounds great. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, well, but his problem is though he can't remember if he's a KAW or a KAW.
Yeah, we noticed that. We did notice that.
Yeah, we'll get him straightened out.
We're gonna practice with him. So, yeah, we'll get him going. So
we did notice that, but I will say y'all definitely know how to get the party started. So
we have fun.
We'll have fun, and let's get everybody else there. And first timers, let's fill this building up and have fun with it, and we'll do it all again.
Hey, just like that tailgate we got going, before the football games. Let's get the same tailgate going at Murphy's on 21, guys.
Yeah, because I know for us, we've never lost a tailgate party.
We've never lost a tailgate party yet.
We're still undefeated.
So we win every time. No matter what we do, we always win a tailgate party. So we'll lose a few
Hey.
games here and there, but we never lose a tailgate.
That's awesome. Yeah, everybody, people are saying that they're going to try to swing by. We love it. Yeah,
Good.
everybody come by. It's going to be, trust me, with these two right here, it'll be well worth your time.
Well,
My mom was like, why didn't I come here all the time?
And we had ladies coming up to us, and they'd lean over to my wife and they'd say, "It's not my birthday."
Nobody else knows.
As long as I can remember. And every once in a while, you get lucky, and somebody's birthday, and they're going, "Well, how'd you know?" Oh, yeah, we just knew.
That's hilarious.
Okay.
All
well,
right.
we're pumped up. We're fired up, guys.
Well, good. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming in.
Hey, no problem.
And we look forward to seeing you guys, seriously, on Sunday at 10:30. And again, game time is at 1.
Right. Tailgate at 10:30.
Tailgate's 10:30. Yep. And we'll all be trucking in right before 1 o'clock. So be a good time.
Right. There you go.
Okay. Hamburgers and hot dogs and
whatever else.
And let's make a day of it.
We'll wash it down with some blue shots.
There you go.
Love
it.
Yeah.
That's right.
That sounds great. All right.
Okay. We'll see you guys then.
Take care.
All right. Sounds
See you Sunday.
See you
Bye.
Sunday.
Bye. Okay. We did it.
Hit the leave thing. You got it.
We got a rookie on the we got a rookie on the board today.
Sorry guys. Me. Bear with me. Yeah, Dirty put me in charge today, but have no fear, he will be here, okay? Seriously. Right now, everybody, you have me as your host, Amanda, today with Daddy Ed right here, okay? So first off today, Dad, let's talk about this game in Vegas, okay? So tell me a little bit about your thoughts on the game and the offensive coordinator. I know we have a lot to talk about with that.
Well, I tell you, as much as you want to be hard on the team and bash them when their offense doesn't live up to expectations, you gotta tip your hat for last weekend because they finally put a complete game together. It was nice to see. As we talk about the offensive coordinator, it's kind of funny. You know, the conspiracy theorist in me sometimes comes out, and, you know, they started talking about how A.J. McCarron couldn't hear the signals coming in from the offensive coordinator, and he was hearing his defensive coordinator instead, and all that stuff. And I kind of started thinking, you know, maybe that was by design because AJ, you know, he's been around the block, won a couple national championships, and he's got a feel for the game. He knows what he can do and what he can't do. And I sometimes wonder if maybe he just decided, you know what, I'm going to pull the old scene from Unstoppable, where, you know, like I like to make movie references. Denzel Washington in the movie, he's talking to a supervisor, and his supervisor's trying to tell him how they're going to handle this runaway locomotive. And finally, Denzel Washington just gets tired of listening to him and does the old mic cutting out thing and yip, 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 yip. And it's kind of funny. So AJ starts lighting it up. In fact, I think he had like 17, 19 passes in a row, completions. And just before halftime, they score a touchdown, and they show the offensive coordinator, and he looks like he's a kid in a candy store. He's got this big smile on his face. He's almost hopping up and down just like a kid, and I think I even heard him ask the other coaches, "Boy, how many points do we get for a touchdown in the first half?" It was hilarious. So
yeah, he was kind of acting like how I used to act with AJ when he couldn't hear. It was kind of like how I was acting with you in high school. Like, I can't hear you.
Yeah,
I can't hear you. Like, it's going in one ear and out the other. I can't hear you. Like,
Th-
it's
there's
kind of
a
how it was. Like,
Yeah.
AJ had 23 for 29 completions. He threw for 236 yards and he had 3 touchdowns. In my opinion, that was AJ's MVP game of the year so far. And I think he did a great job.
well, I can understand your somewhat reference.
Mhm, I
The
bet.
only difference being is we're talking about probably a 15 to 30-minute period of the game, whereas you kind of had that happen for like 5 years. So there's
Okay.
there's a little bit of difference there, but
Anyway, I didn't need you to go into it.
but the thing was is that the problem with their mics went well into the third quarter, and after the game, AJ, being the consummate professional that he is, still gave all the credit to that game to the offensive coordinator and talked about how he called a great game and that how awesome he was, and I don't know. I'm going to kind of take more of the stance that AJ was allowed to run the offense the way AJ wanted to run it for a while, and you saw what happened. It was the first time by far he played a complete game from beginning to end. So that was exciting to see. So now all the naysayers that talk about all he can play is the last 3 minutes of a ball game kind of got to take a step back, because I think you're starting to see the offense come together a little bit. That's pretty exciting for the stretch run.
And like, okay, bear with me, people, because Dirty told me how to do this, but for some reason it's not working for me. So Scott said a lot less penalties. Ask Houston about that. Yeah, I know that's great. Yeah, and on that note too, as far as penalties goes, it's definitely a difference from when the Battlehawks played against DC too. Don't even get me started when it comes to DC. They like to get those flags thrown against the other team. No point intended. But anyway,
So
Brian Hill also had 14 carries with 71 yards and 5.1 yards per carry. It's pretty awesome. And Darius Shepard had 7 receptions, 79 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So I will say, it was a great game. I feel like they were definitely on point.
when you talk about how teams evolve during the season, you look at the struggles that the Battlehawks had, especially the first week of the season when they pretty much trailed against San Antonio for the whole game before they pulled it out in the end. As compared to last week, they go into Vegas and basically controlled that game. But then you look at the numbers for this weekend. Now you've got San Antonio going into Vegas, and they've actually got the Vipers 3-point favorites in that game. And it's like, wow. Either the Battlehawks are ascending big time, or San Antonio gets absolutely zero respect, because I realize San Antonio's 2-4 and the Vipers are 1-5, but it just seems odd to me that they would favor the Vipers in that game.
So after playing the Vipers in Vegas, and then they come here, for our first home game back here, do we feel like it'll be any different when they come here versus when we were there? Or do you feel it's going to be about the same
Against
when we play Vegas, when they come back home? Their first home game back here.
Well, the one thing about Vegas now is they can focus on one quarterback. Now that they've traded away their Perez.
Out of all the other teams that like to, we're only about halfway, a little over, and teams are still trying to figure out what quarterback we're going to take yet. Oh, we're still trading quarterbacks for some teams. Like, still have not figured that out yet. I don't get that.
Well, I'm still trying to figure out that trade, because
I don't understand that. I just don't. Please help
What's-
me, people. Help me, people. I don't get that. That is the thing that frustrates me the most. I don't understand how we are almost over halfway through the season and you can still continuously just rotate your QBs like that and just keep putting different ones. And this one's going, I mean, I don't get it.
Well, you can see that DC is
Where you got
starting.
Silver's running his mouth.
Yeah, well, Silver. It's kind of funny. A week ago, we was talking about Silver's being in the top 2 for the MVP chase, and he ends up this last weekend getting pulled in the third quarter.
Mhm.
And I mean, he was pretty much having a meltdown with the referees. And I sometimes think that Wade Phillips just pulled him out of the game just to kind of calm that part of it down, because when you start getting in an argument with the referees about the rules while you're out on the field on a drive, it kind of started getting a little ridiculous.
Well, Little Red Riding Hood tried to blow that house down a little bit. Big Bad Wolf didn't have it, so and they're gonna throw you out at some point. I don't know. There's 4 people, 4 Battlehawks that are on the injured list for coming to play against Houston, and there's 0 against Houston. That scares me a little bit. There's 2 on the defensive line. 8-man is out, and there's also 1 on the offensive line as well. So,
but none of the so-called skill positions we have any. There's nothing injury there. I mean, 8-man, yeah, he's
so
a wide.
Vidal Alexander on the offensive line is out for a knee injury. Marcel 8-man is out for a hamstring. Lamore is the defensive line. He's out for his calf. And Dupo, don't quote me, defensive line is out for his neck. And Houston has 0 out, unless Silvers runs his mouth.
Well, 8-man was the Battlehawks' #1 overall draft pick. And so there's a lot of teams, that when their first overall pick doesn't pan out, it puts them behind the 8 ball. But obviously it took a few weeks, but I think the Battlehawks have figured out their offense minus 8-man. So as much as I'd like to see 8-man and the guy's like 8'6". As much as I'd like to see him get involved in the offense, it kind of sounds like we've kind of turned the corner, so to speak. We do have someone chiming in that says 8-man came back to practice today.
Yeah, Andrew said, didn't they say 8-man came back to practice today? That is a very good question, Andrew. We'll have to look into that. I will look into that for you. If he did, that's great. I mean, not mad at it, but let's just hope he does something.
But it's amazing.
He hasn't done anything all the other time.
But it's amazing how much difference a game can make in a game when the offense is being productive and moving the ball. I mean, you get out to an early lead like we did. By halftime, it was 17-0. It just puts a whole different perspective on a game plan, especially on defense. We had our linemen pinning their ears back and just going after the quarterback pretty much that whole second half. The quarterbacks didn't have time to throw or anything because, every time the ball got snapped, you could just see the lineman was almost in a contest with each other over who was going to get the next sack. And that's what playing with the lead does. It just gives you so many more options to just turn it loose and pin your ears back and go.
So who Dad, do you think Silvers will end up starting then on Sunday, or?
That's a good question. I would say that, yeah, they're probably going to start him, but I think he's going to have a pretty short leash. We talked about Silvers.
What do you guys think? Do you guys think, I'm asking the fans, what do you guys all think? Do you guys think that they'll start Silvers, yay or nay? What are your guys' thoughts with the game coming? Also, please chime in and let us know. My feelings with the game on Sunday with Houston is You know, I saw a whole new side of Wade Phillips this last weekend. That, rightfully so. A lot of it had to do with the penalty flags, which I just think were outrageous. I mean, that intentional grounding nonsense was a joke. Dean, let me ask a question about. I gotta ask this because I gotta know what is the definition of a challenge flag, because I don't understand how you can challenge a, like a penalty for roughing the passer, all of that stuff, right? But if Dean sees something, he can call it. I don't understand the reason behind having a challenge flag if Dean can still make calls from up above. I don't get it. Why have it?
Well, I'm more in question of the method in which you have to challenge. I mean, you have to get as specific as in, are you saying that the defensive back held the receiver? Or are you saying that it was illegal contact after 5 yards? You have to be so specific. And if you say the wrong thing, then Dean's not going to overturn the call because, yeah, there was an infraction, but it wasn't what you said it was. That just seems so wrong. The one thing I liked about their challenges and
Right, Corey, I understand because it's the coach's challenge. I get that. But the coaches, I have noticed there's been a few times where they hold out to see if Dean will do anything. And so will the people upstairs. They'll hold out too. And there's been times where they've shown Dean up there looking, and the staff is kind of looking too, like the offense, and they've waited. Like there's been a waiting game for a little bit where the players are just kind of standing and huddling, and there's no timeout. And I'm like, okay, because there's Dad. Remember when we were in DC, and you made the comment to me, you were like, "What's going on? Like, why are we waiting so long? Like, what is the holdup here?" Like, it's stuff like that.
It
And when
seemed
we
like
watched the game back, there was like leg time. And that's what I was talking about. Like, I don't get that.
Well, it seems like at the beginning of the season, I don't know if they had more cameras or what exactly the deal was, but whenever there was a challenge or there was a change of possession that they wanted to review or whatever, he was pretty fast at it. I mean, he had all the different angles and boom, he was right on top of it. Now it seems like it's starting to reach that gray area where you're wondering, is Dean not getting the angles that he needs to make the call from the cameras? Right. Or is he deciding that he doesn't want to go against the ref calls on the field unless it's absolutely blatant or what? But it seems like we're entering now a gray area where they're going up to Dean to make a call, and Dean is looking at a few different angles and just saying, I don't have enough. We're just going to have to let the original call lie.
But I don't know if you guys noticed at the Houston and DC game, when they were replaying some of those things back, there was maybe only 2 different angles that they were showing. Like, I don't know if it was just for us, but that I've noticed even that Dean was looking at. It was 2 different angles. And I'm like, how can you go off that?
And a lot of those angles that they're looking at, that they let us see that he's looking at,
couldn't see anything.
They look like sideline shots.
Right.
But they have the overhead camera. I mean, you see on the field, the overhead camera follows them around the field everywhere they go. Where's those shots? It doesn't seem like you're seeing the overhead shots as much anymore. And it's like, some of those he says, well, I just can't see. We're gonna have to let the call in the field stand. Well, you're looking at the same thing he is, and it's like, yeah, I can see why you're saying that, but why is that the best and only view that you have?
Right. So, I don't understand. I don't understand that either. I don't. And I mean, I just feel like at the beginning of the season, and fans, you guys can chime in and tell me what you think about this. And Dad, we were talking about this earlier. I feel like at the beginning of the season, Dean was on it. He was on it.
Yeah, he was
And
on it.
he was on it. And I just feel like as the season has gone on, it's not like that as much. And that's the bad part, is that right now is the most crucial time that we need him, is because a loss is a loss, and that loss could cost you. And
And
it's
like Scott
bad right now.
Scott just made reference to the Houston defensive lineman got thrown out of the game for the supposed punch.
Mhm.
That's another thing that at the beginning of the year they would have showed that.
Mhm.
You know, the water squirting that he also makes reference to.
Mhm.
That's something that they would have just shown. So all of a sudden they're not showing that either. So it's like everybody liked the transparency of what you were doing up in the booth and letting us see everything in real time. Don't lose that. It seems to me like you're starting to make it pretty gray. And the Houston DC game, I know Amanda and I talked about this quite a bit.
Especially in DC, a little gray. It's a little bit grayer
Yeah, I'm.
in DC.
You know, it's not just the Battlehawks that played in DC. There's been a lot of other teams playing in DC. And I get the whole beer snake thing, and everybody's enamored with the beer snake and everything, best fans in football, all that stuff. But it kind of seems a little bit like the refs are even a little enamored with DC, because I got to say, the games I see in DC, there's a lot of iffy calls that if I was keeping track on paper, one team versus another.
Okay, Andrew brought up a really good point. Yeah, thank you, Dirty. And then they show another angle of the replay on the TV that Dean doesn't have a couple minutes later. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so
That's
it's
exactly
like,
what's happening.
so it's like, I agree with everybody. It's probably consensus. DC has the best team in the XFL so far this season.
I'd
No
agree.
doubt about it.
Mhm.
But I don't know. It just seems like the whole XFL, for whatever reason, is so enamored with DC that I'm kind of looking forward to some road games, just because I understand the whole beer snake thing, but do we really need to see the beer snake the whole game? Is that really what you want to promote, is the beer snake? At the
God,
end of
that's
the,
a good point right there. DC's last 2 games, Houston had 12 penalties, St. Louis had 10 penalties, and DC had a total of 6 in those 2 games.
and I was in DC and I
Excuse
saw that,
me?
and I personally saw that game and all the chippiness that was going on. DC has a handful of players on their team that's constantly stirring it up. And it seems like they stir it up and
The
they
guy
stir
with
it
the
up
hair.
and they stir it up. They got number 43, the linebacker has and then they have 99 on the line. And then there's a couple DBs that are constantly going that extra little bit after the whistle, and they just get you. And that's really, it's got to be part of their game. They get the other team off their game because they're in their head with all this chippiness stuff. But then it always turns out that the other team finally has enough and they retaliate, and then boom, it's always the other team that gets the penalty flags. And it's like, I don't know.
I just feel like if they're gonna, I don't know. I just think that the refs are all not on the same page. I just feel like there's certain refs that
Well,
I've noticed are very consistent that get flag happy.
Did you hear
Get real flag happy.
Did you
And I
hear
can
old
tell you
Dean?
who one of them is once I see it.
Did you hear Dean during the game kind of get caught on one of those games where he thought
Arlington A Train showed that on the show yesterday.
Yeah, he kind of
And
didn't
he
realize
said,
he was still mic'd up, and he was talking to the other guy in the booth about how
that he
bad
messed up.
how bad the refs messed up the call.
No, he
So,
said he messed up.
I don't know. We kind of got
DC
off on
does
a.
seem to be more disciplined, though.
Oh,
Who
there's
said
no
that,
doubt.
Corey?
There's no. There's no doubt. DC.
Discipline on what?
DC is very disciplined team in that they don't make mistakes. They play a clean
discipline
game.
on playing the game,
They
yeah.
play a clean
not
game.
discipline on
They
being nasty.
wait for the other team to make the mistake, and then they pounce on it. So I agree with them in that respect. But we kind of got off on a tangent
Anyway.
there.
Mm-hmm.
But
Why we talk about DC for?
anyway, we was talking about Silvers and whether he's gonna.
So as far
you know,
as Silver's playing, I don't know.
We had talked a couple weeks ago, and Dirty was talking about Houston and how he thought they was going to go 8-2, and we went through the whole schedule. And I had told him at that time.
On that note, let me say something about Dirty real quick because he's not on here, so I can't. He said, I know y'all are watching his last Thursday show with Arlington A Train when they were doing their picks, and Dirty picked Vegas to win against the Battlehawks. And
wait, are you sure that I'm not? Hold on. Are you sure that I'm not on this show? Are you sure that I'm not? Are you sure?
I knew you are.
Are you sure?
I was just gonna.
You just weren't
I was
there.
just gonna warn you, Amanda, that he's gonna pop up.
I never said
no.
You in Arlington are liars.
No,
I never said that St. Louis was gonna lose to the Vipers. I said the Vipers were going to lose to the Battlehawks. That's what I said.
That is
exactly what I said.
That isn't what you said. You were talking about. Yeah. How does it feel? Just
like does a bear shit in the woods?
Now look, just because I'm not there, Amanda and Ed, doesn't mean this is your guys' show that you can just.
Okay. Yes, it does. Right now it does. Anyway, as I was saying, that really made my day. Anyway, he picked Vegas. Moving on.
So what I was going to say is that, he had talked a couple weeks ago about how, the Vipers were better than we thought, and he actually picked them to upset the Battlehawks and beat them and everything. And then he comes on the show yesterday, the X-Fan show, and says that he gave the Battlehawks zero credit for winning that game. We didn't even acknowledge that they played a complete game. He just basically said that Vegas sucked. And that what did we expect? Of course we were going to beat them. Vegas sucked. When just a couple of weeks ago, he made the comment that Vegas was better than what we thought, and that they were probably going to beat the Battlehawks. So
he said the Battlehawks played their first complete game. That's what he said.
And then he also
verbatim.
Then he also said.
And then he said, Danuch, constantly.
Yeah.
As I slapped him.
Then in the X-Fan show yesterday, he made the comment that DC and Seattle were really the only two teams that were ascending, and the rest of the teams were descending or digressing. And I'm like, if you watch the Battlehawk game, it was by far the best game they played of the season, the most complete game they played of the season. How does that qualify as digressing? So I don't know. You can't control, you can't change the narrative. You can't to make your argument. Things are the same.
Honestly, though, this weekend will be the tall tale.
Well,
this Sunday, in my
opinion. If you remember right, a couple weeks ago when we were talking about Houston and the way we thought they were going to finish, I had made the comment that injuries are a great equalizer. Well, Houston loses Kirkland, and now they're scrambling. And I also made the comment that get Houston away from home because they played their first 3 weeks at home. Get them on the road where they got to face a little adversity and see how Silvers reacts. So what happens? Silvers on the road at DC. He ends up getting pulled in the third quarter because he's starting to have a meltdown down on the field. So as you talk about teams that are descending and
You
going
pulled
in
a
different,
hyena.
yeah, yeah. So I think it's pretty. I like the Battlehawks going into this weekend because if you want to talk about momentum, the Battlehawks are definitely on the rise, and I don't know. Houston's got to figure it out. They got to find the replacement for Kirkland, but now you've got Silver that's kind of looking over his shoulder now because they brought in a different quarterback that kind of showed him up last week. So
You really did.
So it's kind of like, where's Houston at? That's where I was kind of hoping A-Train would have stayed on a little bit longer at the beginning of the show because I wanted to ask him
But
what
here's
his
my
thoughts were.
question too for you, Dad. You know how, like, remember when we were growing up, and you used to say to me, sometimes when you play back to back like that, it's better, right? So the fact that they played on Monday, Houston played Monday, and then they turn around and play again Sunday, and they don't have as long of a in between, right? Is that better or not really?
Well, there's so many different factors there because if St. Louis is nursing some injuries, St. Louis has got another 2 days rest. They played on Saturday. Houston played on Monday night, so they've got a good 2 days of rest over Houston. So Houston's had back-to-back losses now, and they've got a lot of figuring out to do. So how much maybe having to figure it all out on a short week isn't necessarily to their advantage.
All right, I'm back. Now look,
where's your hat?
You guys were talking trash. Let me show. I'm gonna put a hat on. Okay.
You need to put a hat on.
I'm gonna put a hat on. I'm gonna put a hat on. My computer screens are all messed up. I'm gonna put a hat on to show you something.
Oh no, here we go.
Oh God, here we go. Oh yeah,
Seattle hat.
See, I knew that was gonna happen.
The nooch.
The nooch. The noocher.
The best quarterback in the league. The noocher.
You know
Hey,
why?
I'm sorry, but it's like the deflate gate. Somebody check his gloves.
It ain't deflate gate.
You better.
Yeah, deflate gate. Somebody check Danucci's gloves. I'm sorry.
All I can say
Velcro
is
gate. Velcro gate. Velcro gate.
you probably.
He keep getting muted. Who's muting him?
You better. You probably better not.
Look, I promise I'll be good. Steve Spurrier. That's all I got to say.
Who's
for
muting
the
you? Is Arlington
Well, all I can tell
you?
you, about Danucci is, if you're really a fan of his, then you're probably going to get to enjoy him for years because as long as he continues to be the turnover master, he has no shot of going to a higher level.
Let me tell you something.
No shot.
The Neutra could do it. I tell you right now, listen, if the Neutra was here with St. Louis, everybody'd be all on his jock, loving the Neutra.
Oh, no, he wouldn't.
Yeah, they would.
Not see Jack on the.
They would be loving.
You keep wanting to say his turnovers don't matter because they're still winning. Ask the defense if they agree with you. You keep wanting to give all the credit to Nooch, no matter when he has 3 interceptions. What about the defense that has to save his ass because he did it again in Orlando?
Spurrier didn't win in the USFL or NFL. Thank you.
Now listen.
He got him to the goal line. He threw a pick in the end zone again. It's like he never learns. Never learns.
The Nooch is the bomb. As of right now, he is the second best quarterback in the league. And as much as it pains me to say this, over the last 3 games, even though the bum threw an interception at the last minute of the game with 3 minutes left and deflated the entire stadium because they all left, A.J. McCarron has become the best player in the game over the last 3 weeks. He's played some listen, we all know I'm very critical of AJ Smith or AJ McCarron. Been very critical of him. But these last 3 games have been some of his most complete games. I mean, listen, he played the team that was a terrible team, against Vegas, which I said they were going to beat Vegas because I'm always right. And Daddy Ed, I heard you running your mouth while I was coming back from baseball practice, saying that I said Houston's going to go 8-2. They're still going to go 8-2. Look at their schedule. There's not anybody that's going to beat them. And Amanda just left us for some reason. I don't know why. She texted me for something. She's the host of this show, Ed. How are we supposed to end the show if Amanda's not here?
So when you said they were going to go 8-2, which 2 games did you have them losing?
DC. I had them losing the DC game. Oh, here's the host back. What happened there, Amanda? You're the host of the show. We can't end the show without you.
My internet was messing up.
Oh, is that what it was? Likely excuse.
Sorry.
Likely excuse.
Because I'm tired of hearing y'all bitch.
I'm not. Listen, I'm giving AJ McCarron his props finally for a change.
Yeah, you actually did. I'm shocked.
Okay, so Houston's next.
So obviously you think Houston's going to win this week against St. Louis.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're going to beat us. They'll beat us. As much as I hate to say it, yes, they'll beat us, right?
By what? What's your score?
Listen, I think it's good. I mean, look, we can sit here and talk all the trash we want, but, I mean, we have a really good defense, a very good pass defense. Not a run defense, but a great pass defense, right?
Yep.
If they catch the ball, though, here's the thing.
True.
It's always if it's not AJ, it's the wide receivers. If it's not the wide receivers, it's AJ. I mean, look at the passes. We're right to the dudes this last weekend, and they just weren't catching them. If it wasn't Prohl, it was.
Look at what AJ's game would have been had there not been drop passes.
Yeah, I mean,
right. That's what I'm saying. Hey, Dirty must be drinking because he's saying good things about AJ McCarron.
Andrew, yes.
No,
Andrew, are you going to be at the tailgate?
I said it on Saturday. I said it on Saturday when we were watching the game. Did I not? This is AJ's most complete game. And it really was. I mean, look, you cannot deny 19 straight completions. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's not his problem. Like Kevin says right here, football to the chest. You get a football to the chest and your loser wide receiver drops it. That's not AJ McCarron's fault.
Butler had some passes right to him, and he dropped them.
Right.
Did he not?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right out of the gate. I'm like, dude.
Look, I mean,
Prohl had some right to him. I mean, if it wasn't AJ, it was. I mean, it just gotta.
Yeah, the game that I'm going to be the most curious about for us, right? The game I'm going to be the most curious is going to be Week 9, April 16th, with the Sea Dragons versus the Battlehawks.
That's really what the season comes down to.
And I'm so happy you will not be sitting next to me, so I won't have to hear.
Where are you sitting?
That is the.
Don't play me. Do not do that.
Where are you sitting?
I'm sitting in your seat.
I don't.
Your boys.
I don't know about that one.
That's really the game. That's really the game that determines whether the Battlehawks make the playoffs or not. Is that game?
I mean, look, and here it is. I've said it before. Is the North the more dominant division? Yes. Or has the South been exposed? Right. Well, I mean, here, let's look at it. Seattle beat Houston, right?
Yep.
DC beat Houston. Okay. Now they got to play the Battlehawks, which, I mean, if you go by some people's rankings, they say they're the 3rd best team in the league. I kind of disagree. I would say they're, right now I would, because they're 1-1 over the last 2 games, where Houston is what, 2-2?
Seattle has to play DC yet again.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this.
It's not over yet, people.
Look, Seattle barely lost to DC in DC, right? But I mean, I know you guys were talking about DC, and I know this isn't a show about DC. This is a show about the Battlehawks, but I mean, you cannot take away what DC has done these last
Oh,
six
absolutely.
six games.
They're head and shoulders above the rest of the league. They proved it on the field, so you can't argue that at all.
Yeah, I mean, can DC lose to Seattle? Sure, but it's gonna boil down to this: what's the Nooch gonna do against DC? Because that's a fast defense that DC has, right? And we've seen DiNucci as a fast running back or as a quarterback, right? So it's going to be interesting. So this game coming up on Sunday, which as you guys talked about, you guys had Ron and who was the other guy? Ron and who? Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right, Ron and Jeff. We're doing the Murphys on 21. We're going to have hot dogs and burgers, and the buns and stuff have been donated. And Ed, I know you're making your sandwich thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna have that stuff. That's what I was told. That's what I was told by
Yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was told by Miss Thing
Golly.
down there.
Well, if I make those, then there really isn't any need for hamburgers and hot dogs. But that's
Oh, but
just.
listen, we gotta do what we gotta do,
I
man.
know.
We're gonna be there from 10:30 till 6 o'clock. You know what I'm
It's gonna
saying?
and it's gonna be a beautiful day.
Right? Yeah, you're gonna get dirty shots out of the dumpster. Don Julio shots out of the dumpster. I'll be serving shots out of the dumpster. Amanda will be in the dumpster with me serving shots also. So,
Why will that be?
well, I mean, Ed said that you would fit perfectly in the dumpster, so that's why we said we're going to put you in the dumpster.
Don't put words in his mouth. See, who sounds like a hyena now? You?
Yeah, you. But anyways, back to what I was saying. This is really going to be the test of the Battlehawks and actually for Houston, because if Houston loses this game, that means they've lost 3 in a row. Okay? Arlington just picked up Luis Perez. Okay?
Nah, that ain't nothing. I'm not worried about that. Mm-mm.
It's better than anything they had.
The Brahmas are starting to figure it out, right?
Gumby.
They're
It's nothing but a Gumby.
Yeah, they're starting to figure it out. They're playing the Vipers. I don't see the Brahmas losing to the Vipers, unfortunately, right?
Give me your thoughts on that. Vegas has the Vipers favored by 3 in that game. That shocks me.
Well, I mean, you got Brent Hundley, who's the backup to Aaron Rodgers. Does that really surprise you?
Well, he's the backup.
Okay,
but never got to play. So, I mean, Hundley is not a bad quarterback.
No.
But I just, like I said, what a difference the season makes, because San Antonio outplayed the Battlehawks in week 1, but the Battlehawks still pulled it out.
Mm-hmm.
We go into the Vipers and totally control the game.
Mm-hmm.
Say again.
But now
we did
San
what?
Antonio
No, Dirty, we did what?
Well, and that's what I said was going to happen, is that they were going to control the game. I mean, look,
did
right
what?
here. Look, John says it. I have a text that backs you up, Dirty. I said Vegas was going to get run over by the Battlehawks. Never said the Battlehawks were going to lose to Vegas. It's all fake news. All fake news. Until you could produce
Don't
the
take
video,
my saying.
it was fake news. So it's
don't
really,
take my saying. Other shows do that.
right. Look,
Let the other show do that.
It's going to be very interesting these next three weeks, right? I don't see Seattle losing against Arlington. I don't.
Why are you still smiling, Dirty?
I just don't. I got what you said. Don't worry. I got what you. I heard your shot. Look at Amanda taking shots at people. You gotta love it. Amanda's starting to become ruthless.
I would agree. If I had my hand held to the fire, I would probably take Seattle over Arlington as well.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like I've said. It's like I've said on the X Fan
Floater
show.
ain't there no more.
Right. Seattle's going to live or die by the Nooch. I mean, that's plain and simple. They're going to live or die by Ben DiNucci.
Glove gate.
You know what I'm saying?
Glove gate.
Yeah, like look right here. If the Newts can control the ball, Seattle wins. Exactly. I mean, it's right.
Glove
I
gate.
just don't. I mean, do you? Okay, Amanda. Honestly, do you see Seattle losing to Arlington?
No. Glove gate.
Okay. Now, can you see the Battlehawks losing to Houston after getting their ass whooped in 2 games?
No.
Ed, can you see St. Louis losing to Houston?
Watch what you say, old man.
I want to believe it's right now. It's 2 teams going in opposite directions, but we'll see.
I mean, look at what Cole McDonald did.
Don't do Kevin wrong. Kevin's right behind you. He's gonna be really mad at you.
McDonald did, but there's the question: who's going to start that game, Silvers or McDonald?
It's going to be McDonald, hands down. It'll be McDonald.
Oh my God! Watch the house come crashing down.
Yeah, Kevin's watching you. Kevin's right behind you, and he's watching every move, everything you say.
Look, I'm going to say this. I mean, what I like, I mean, again, this game, Houston, and that it's really all going to depend on who the starting quarterback is against the Battlehawks for the Roughnecks. If it's McDonald, I think they're going to win. If
Corey said, "I don't think Dirty has picked the Battlehawks all year."
I have. I have.
Win.
I pick us to win. Well, no.
They ain't played the Guardians yet, bro. They ain't played the Guardians yet.
Maybe by week 10. Maybe by week 10.
Okay, look, week 8.
When they play the Guardians, he will.
Yeah.
He will when they play Guardians.
Okay, look, week 8, they're going to beat Vegas because they're here in St. Louis, okay?
He will when they play the Guardians.
Week 9, we play the Sea Dragons. As long as they can get to DiNucci and stop DiNucci, they could beat the Sea Dragons, right? And then they play the Guardians on the 21st. So they're going to beat the Guardians. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I have picked the Battlehawks. I just tell it how it is.
Yeah, but I believe
picked them to beat the Renegades.
But you just said it.
You know what this means?
Yeah.
This is called backpedaling.
I think when he went the last time he went through the Battlehawks schedule, he had the Battlehawks like at 5-5 or 4-6. I think he had
5-5.
5-5. Well, they're going to finish better than 5-5.
I think so. I think they're going to be in third place in the division.
It comes down to week number 9. The winner of week number 9 is going to the playoffs.
No. In my opinion, it really comes down to week 7. Week 7. When you got Seattle at the Renegades. Okay.
Dirty, can I make a prediction?
Hold on, Amanda. And then you got the Battlehawks at the Roughnecks. It comes down to next week. Whichever one of those 2 teams lose that game, right? Whichever team wins whichever one of those 2 teams, the Sea Dragons or the Battlehawks, win their games, they're going to go to the playoffs.
I don't believe that, because even if the Battlehawks lose and Seattle wins, even if Seattle has a 1-game lead going into that week 9, if the Battlehawks beat Seattle, they got the tiebreaker. So all they got to do is be within 1 game going into week 9, and they can take second place.
All right, Amanda, what is your prediction then?
My speculation yet prediction.
Whoa.
What?
You can't make a speculation. I'm the one that makes speculation.
Oh, not today.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
my speculation, are you ready for it?
Yeah, go for it.
Will be that there will be more than 2 teams on each side that will be going into the playoffs.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Explain.
You know why?
Why?
Because I said so.
That's interesting, because if you look at it,
look at the schedule.
That is true.
And look at the dates.
That you are absolutely right.
Look at the schedule and look at the dates and how it plays out with the championship game, and you tell me what that looks like to you.
Well, it's funny, Amanda. I'm gonna actually elaborate a little bit on your speculation, because I pulled up the XFL standings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've noticed that the rules have changed a little bit on here. So now, actually, this is what it says, and I'm actually going to pull it up and show you. Because remember, it used to say the best 2 teams, right, for the playoffs will go to The top 2 teams in each division would go to the playoffs, right? But on here, now it says the 2 teams head to head, best win-loss percentages in division games, single strength of victories in all games, combined record of opponents, best combination ranking among division teams in points scored and in allowed games, best combination in rankings among all teams in points and scored, best net points in all games, best net touchdowns in all games, and a coin toss. So, Amanda, so you're basically saying that you think that they're going to change this and it's going to be the top 4 teams are going to the playoffs.
Yep.
Interesting. I mean, I didn't know in the old standings where it said that the top 2 teams would make it, right? But it's not saying it here now in the rules.
Well,
Listen, people, you can beat the system when you read the fine print.
yeah,
Called
but
reading into it.
then you better tell all the announcers for the games and stuff, because I've heard it 15 times already this year that the top 2 teams from each division make the playoffs. So if they're going to change the rules and do something different by the end of the season, they're going to have to figure that out, because you can't.
But listen, here's the thing. Here's the thing with the XFL.
Yeah, Daddy.
We've noticed they've changed a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah.
As the season has went on, right?
Just like they said their tailgate was going to be better than ours.
All I got to say is if they let more teams in the playoffs and they end up changing the bowl week, I'm going to be PO'd, because I've already bought my airline tickets. I've already got my reservations made.
Oh, you don't have to worry about that. Look at the dates.
Well, there's a 2-week period between the 4-team or the 2-game playoff and the bowl.
Listen,
but that's no different than the NFL. The NFL has a 2-week
you're
playoff.
not understanding. It all averages out. And it doesn't mean who knows what days those games are going to be on. You don't know. Nobody knows.
I mean,
Nobody knows.
You got a point.
Nobody knows what days those games are going to be on. No one.
Yeah, I mean, let's.
They changed the game for this weekend, did they not? From Saturday to Sunday. They could change a game anytime they want to.
Yeah, but you're still within a certain time frame. I mean,
Yeah, at the very beginning of the season, the Battlehawks played a game within 4 or 5 days of each other. Right out of the gate, at the very beginning of the season. They only had like 5 days in between. They didn't have much rest time in between the game.
Well, I mean, look, okay, I'm glad you said that, Amanda, because if you really look at, Captain Brahma says either Amanda is overly dressed or everyone else is not dressed enough because she said so.
That's right, because I said so.
I just got to take my shirt and pull it off on me.
Right. Dave says, my understanding was that the top 2, Dave, and that's exactly what it was, is that everybody's top 2 was the understanding. But as I go and look at the rules, when Amanda says that, I'm looking and I don't see it anywhere where it says the top 2 teams, the top 2 teams. I mean, I really think, Amanda, as much as I hate to say it, and now look, I mean, Amanda, do you have any basis, or are you just speculating that that's what it's going to be? Or just from past experiences, what we've seen with the league?
I'm speculating because
what?
No, don't take again. Taking my saying, leave that to another show to do that. I'm just saying, it's anything with the XFL has always been up in the air, right? Nothing has ever been a guarantee, ever. So, what's to say it could not happen?
The only way they're going to be able to pull it off is the bottom 2 teams don't deserve to be in the playoffs, because they got 1 win combined between the 2 of them. So the only way is if you give the top seed in each division a week off, and you have the second and third place teams play each other, and then do that. But you're talking about
how did the USFL do it?
But you're talking about playing
top 4 teams.
You're talking about
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Top 4 teams.
Okay, on each side. So 2 and 2.
I just said it was the top 4 teams.
On each, so 2 on each division.
I don't really remember how they did it. I just know it was the top 4 teams in the USFL.
Maybe the conspiracy theory is they want a home game in St. Louis for the playoffs because they know they would sell out the dome.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm literally going through the rule book as we're speaking, and I'm not finding anything where it's saying that the top two teams from each division.
Kevin said we will find out the day before. I know that's right.
Right? Yeah. Well, I mean, let's look at it. Look, you know, we've seen, you know, they moved Seattle and Orlando to.
USFL was up 2 teams on each division.
Okay, so the mayor says here that it was the East and West, the East Division versus the West Division for the USFL. Okay, the USFL was the top 2 teams in each division. Okay, there we go. All right. Well, I mean, I didn't really pay that close attention at the end of the USFL.
Thanks, Mayor. I didn't. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I mean that's fine. I'm thank you for the clarification. But like I'm literally looking in the rule book and I'm not seeing anywhere in the rule book where it's saying it's the top 2 teams anymore. You know what I mean? I mean, let's look at it.
But honestly, it's the XFL. Like, it literally is coming back. I mean, what's not to say something could happen?
Right. Look, David, and here's what I'm going to say about this.
It's just my speculation, people. Trust me, I've been wrong a lot in my life.
I've never been wrong.
Not to say it's not.
Shush,
old man. Shush, old man.
I can vouch for that.
Shush.
It's like
Mayor,
I said, Vegas
Mayor,
was gonna
shush.
lose. Just like I said, Vegas was going to lose to the Battlehawks.
I tell you what, they start putting our games on ESPN and ABC. You're going to see, you know, the viewership did not lie this last weekend, and that's even with NCAA games going on.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 games they had on ABC, one was over 1 million viewers.
And ABC did a great job too, I will say, with the censorship and I thought the mic'd up stuff was great. And,
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, now listen, Corey, listen. He was a place kicker. He wasn't a wide receiver.
Oh, I didn't.
That's all I got to say about
What's
that.
up, Corey? I like you more and more every day, bro.
You know, even though he's got to say something stupid, I still like Corey. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. It's going to be interesting though. Like I said, these last few weeks for the Battlehawks are going to be interesting. You know. Oh, here you go. Mayor just says this, Amanda.
What's up?
To you. He says, what if it is now the West versus the East in the XFL? Like literally change up all of the divisions? I mean, listen, they've done whatever they wanted to instead of the North and the South in the XFL. I mean, look,
I actually like that. I actually really like that.
Well, they had such a love affair with Texas. They wanted all the Texas teams together.
But has it worked out for them?
No, it actually has backfired because.
But here's the deal: it's always the North and the South, North and the South. I love the East and the West. Like that, switch it up, do something new, innovate it. Like I love that idea,
I mean,
I like that a lot.
Has it? I mean, really, what has it done? I mean, it.
Yeah.
I mean, it showed that the South Division. Again, you know, the mayor has said it before, and when we've had private conversations, that the South will be exposed by the North. And how many teams has the South beat in the North, other than Vegas?
Well, look at Seattle. Look at Seattle and the Battlehawks. 3 out of our 4 losses have been against DC. Other than that, we're beating everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, here. So look, you had the Renegades. Okay, I'll go back to week 1. Okay,
too hasty.
Go back to week 1. Okay, so the South was the Renegades, right? Versus the Vipers.
Mm-hmm.
That's a North and a South team. Arlington won that. Amanda, we were there, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other North and South game was the Brahmas game. Battlehawks won that one, right?
Mhm.
So then you go to in week 2 there was no North versus South. Everybody played their division. Week 3, everybody played their division. Week 4, again it was the Brahmas versus the Dragons, Sea Dragons. Seattle won that game. And then it was our home opener. Renegades in week 4, Renegades versus the Battlehawks. We won that game. Then you go to week 5. Seattle hands Houston their first loss, right? And Vegas beats Orlando. Okay. And then you go to week 6. Again, it's the Sea Dragons versus the Orlando Guardians. Sea Dragons win that one. And then you had the other South versus North and South is DC versus Houston. And DC won that game. So this, again, I'm saying the South hasn't won, other than the first game, hasn't beat a North team.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at DC, the Battlehawks, and Seattle, all of their losses have all come within those 3 teams. I mean, Seattle lost to the Battlehawks.
Mm-hmm.
The Battlehawks lost twice to DC.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and Seattle, yeah. So all the we beat Seattle. So out of the 4 losses that the 3 teams have between them, have all been within those 3 teams. They beat everybody else.
All right, so let's run that table again in the final 3 weeks that we have, or 4 weeks that we have, right? So we have, for the next game, North and South is the week 7, which is the Sea Dragons versus the Renegades. Do you see the Renegades beating the Sea Dragons? I don't see that. Do you guys?
I don't either.
Okay. Now this is actually where it's a complete North and South week, okay? You have the Brahmas against Vegas. I can see Brahmas beating Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I do.
Now you have DC versus
Yes.
Orlando. Do you see Orlando beating DC?
No.
Come on now.
Now you have the Battlehawks versus Houston. To me, that game is a toss-up, depending on who the quarterback is.
And if St. Louis beats Houston,
No, it's not depending on who the quarterback is. It's whether the quarterback is on its game or not.
But if you have St. Louis going down to Houston, beating Houston in Houston, now you've got DC, Seattle, and St. Louis, all 3 in consecutive weeks, all beat Houston. And Houston was supposed to be the cream of the crop of the South Division.
Exactly. So, I mean, for me, like I said, depending on who that quarterback is for the Roughnecks, that's a coin flip. I could easily see the Battlehawks going into Houston and beating them very easily. But I could also see Houston with beating them because they're going to have a chip on their shoulder because they've lost 2 weeks in a row and they don't want to lose 3 weeks in a row. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen. You'll know tomorrow who I pick. Not saying it's happening. I'm not going to tell you. Now, look, we go. So
go
now
ahead. Go ahead. We already know. Go ahead.
So we go to week 8. Look, we go to week 8, right? It's Vegas versus the Battlehawks, Renegades versus Orlando, Houston versus the Brahmas, DC versus Seattle. All teams in their divisions playing. We go to week 9. Now you have only 2 teams. You have the Vipers in Houston. Do you see Houston beating the Vipers? Do you see Vipers beating Houston?
No.
Again, no. DC and the Renegades. Do you see the Renegades beating DC?
No.
I
swear to God, though, that game's at DC. Is DC had like 8 home games this year?
No, they all had 5.
It seems like every week they play at home. I haven't figured that out.
I know, right? But no, they all had 5.
Okay.
And then again, this is, and then you have, again, it's Orlando versus St. Louis, North and South, and then you have DC versus the Brahmas, North and South.
Okay, this may be a stupid question, but just out of curiosity, because I want to know.
So
do the refs go to different games?
Yeah.
Do different games?
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they go to different.
So literally, the North could only have one loss against the South, and that is the very first game with the Vipers versus the Renegades.
And what's funny about that game, the Vipers threw 2 pick sixes in that game, or they would have beat them in week 1.
Yeah, right, exactly. So it's just going to be really interesting to see how all this goes. I mean, Corey, listen.
David said Perez being the quarterback with the Renegades could beat. What do we feel about that?
Again, I'm going right here. That team, right?
Glovegate.
This team right here is going to live or die by the nooch. It's
Glove
whatever
gate.
the nooch does. It's
Glove
whatever
gate.
the nooch does. It's
Glovegate.
No, he don't wear gloves when he throws the ball.
Glovegate.
He might need to put some gloves on because he might not fumble as much. Oh, I mean, it's going to be really interesting. These last 4 weeks of the season are going to be very, very interesting. Like, do you guys see any team? We're talking about DC, right?
Oh, so it's not Glovegate. It might be Deflategate then.
It's not. Stop it. Do you see any team beating DC?
Well, but like I said, injuries are a great equalizer. And Houston's a perfect example of what's happened with Kirkland being out. And I mean, so who knows what's going to happen. But right now, as a crystal ball, looking at it right now, I don't see anybody beating DC.
Listen to me.
But
How many
sometimes the
times can I say
ball
this
can-
and put it through your head? I don't care if you're undefeated all day. I don't give a damn. It only takes one game. One game. It could even be against the Guardians for
the ball can bounce funny
Pete's sake.
sometimes, but
it only takes one game and your ass could be out of the playoffs. One game.
Listen, you're absolutely
It
right.
doesn't matter.
Look,
you could
if
be
there's-
undefeated all season. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything.
if there is one team,
Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know. Ask my dad
listen,
how I know.
this is the game. This is the game right here. This is the game right here. If I was in Seattle for that game, and let me tell you something, it was loud. And I think we had, 12,000 for that game against the Battlehawks in Seattle when it was on a Thursday night, right? Wasn't it like that? Like,
it was a Thursday. Yeah.
yeah, and there was like 12,000 people in there. It was loud. Listen, I don't care how many people you put in the dome, but you put 30,000, we put 38,000 in there, and I will still tell you, Seattle was louder than the dome.
Oh, come on.
Listen.
Dad, we have family in Seattle. We should go to a Seattle game.
I'm just
That would
telling
be
you.
fun,
I'm
actually.
just telling you. Me and the mayor are literally sitting 2 inches from each other, and we're yelling to talk to each other. That's how loud it was.
Was that before or after you were getting pelted?
No, this was in Seattle.
Oh, okay.
I never listen. In every stadium I've went
You
to.
weren't getting pelted with.
No,
lemons.
that was in DC.
Mayor had me rolling when he was
I'm telling you. I'm telling you. That game
He's
was
talking about his
just-
lemons.
That game was just as loud as the Battlehawk game that DC played against. And they didn't commit one penalty. Not one false start. Nothing. Nothing. In that
Why
game.
are all the penalties coming now? I don't get it. Why are all the penalties coming? Are they trying to get all the penalties going? I don't get it.
David,
all
look.
the flakes.
Listen. This is a Battlehawk. This is a show about the Battlehawks, right? But
Sorry, we've gone on a tangent today.
yeah, but I mean, you cannot take away what DC's done. DC is literally the best, well-coached team on all 3 sides of the ball. I mean, listen, you go into an opposing. Okay, Ed, how long have you been watching football, Ed?
Oh God, 53 years.
Since I came out of my mom's womb.
Okay, Amanda, how long have you been watching football?
Since I was old enough to walk.
Right, I've been watching football for
And you're how old now, Amanda?
Don't ask me that.
40. She's 40.
I'm not that old.
She's
I'm
40.
not that old. Stop it.
What, Are you gonna be? Oh no, that's right. You're gonna be 50 this year, right?
No, I'm
Amanda?
37. Be quiet.
Oh my God, you are old. They need to take you out to pasture. Anyways,
Oh
I've
my
been watching
God.
football. I've been watching football probably as long as I can remember, right?
Yeah.
Let me ask either one of you guys: have you ever seen an
When
opposing
wheels
team?
were square.
That's more your dad than it is me. We just started getting round wheels.
When wheels were square.
Oh, look, somebody goes, oh, Amanda, look, somebody's being nice. Oh, 37, that's young. Shut up, Scott.
It is. It is young. Thanks, Scott.
Yeah.
At
Anyways,
least
have
somebody likes
either
me.
one of you two ever seen an opposing team go into the home stadium and never commit one false start?
No. No. I remember you sitting next to me. I'm sorry, I gotta say this, but I remember you sitting next to me and saying, "You're in your own stadium. You do your own false start.
How
What
can
the?
you get a false
what
start
the-
in your own stadium, for crying out loud? It's like,
I mean, what? Only he
But,
had
I mean,
the FUCK going, but I mean, really?
look,
Who does it?
so
I
you're
said
gonna
I'm
tell-
ill. I got to go.
Right, yeah. So you're going to tell me that DC's not going to be able to go into Seattle and beat Seattle. That stadium's loud, okay? They're going to want revenge from Lemongate, okay? But the way they played against the Battlehawks in a loud stadium and didn't commit a false start, that's got to say something right there to you people. If you have not watched, if you only watch Battlehawk games, then you don't know the XFL at all. The three of us have watched every single XFL game there is.
Or been to it.
Or been to it. Or we've had somebody at every single game.
Mm-hmm.
Can you, I mean, Ed, in the 50-something years, have you ever seen an opposing team never have a false start in the home stadium?
no, I spent years and years at the Metrodome as a season ticket holder, and that was the whole shtick of being the home team, as loud as we were, is that you could always count on false starts for the other team.
And I'm just sitting there intimate, and I tell Amanda, I'm like, and I tell my boys, I'm like, do you guys realize they have not committed a false start at all? And all three of them are like, oh yeah, they have. I'm like, no, I'm telling you, I don't think they have.
Don't put me in that. I did not say that.
They're not.
No,
They're
I did not.
DC's not worried about going to Seattle to play.
I don't think so either. But
game.
if there is a game that they could do it, it could be Seattle. I mean, I thought it could be in St. Louis too. But again, it just didn't happen. You know what I mean? It just didn't happen. They don't commit penalties at all.
I did not say that. Your son said that. Don't put me in that.
So, I mean, so I could very easily see Seattle going undefeated or DC going undefeated. Very easily see it.
On that note, we're in overtime, people.
We're way in overtime. But let's get back to it. This Sunday, we got the Battlehawks versus Seattle, right?
No.
Or Houston.
Yeah.
Houston's coming off a 2-game skid, right? They are without their top receiver. They are in kind of a lull with, David, again. Again, listen. Again, my dad God rest his soul, used to tell me the exact same thing. But you tell me, David, as long as you've been watching football, have you ever seen an opposing team going into a home stadium and not have the visiting team going into the opposition stadium and never have a false start? That's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying.
Oh, jeez.
So
now,
there's Russ with the Go Battlehawks. So let's really look at this.
Yeah, Russ, go Battlehawks. That's right.
So we got Houston coming. We got Battlehawks traveling to Houston. Houston coming off of 2 losses. We're coming off of 1-1. Right? I have a feeling. Kevin goes, my eardrums. Ed, you should have muted yourself.
I know, right?
The mayor goes, if the Battlehawks can't beat Bo Callahan, then they should take a knee and forfeit the remainder of the game. I will agree with that one. Brandon Silvers is possibly one of the, I know I was sitting here talking about how great Brandon Silvers is and all that.
Listen, I'm more excited to see Wade Phillips and
See,
Anthony
look,
Beck
Lois,
this
right here, Lois, talking about how long she's watched football. And she says, I don't believe I've ever seen it either. Again, David, I'm not saying they're invincible. What I'm saying is they play mistake-free ball. You saw the one stat earlier before I was here. Houston had 12 penalties against them. Battlehawks had 10 of them in their own home stadium and 2 false starts in their own home stadium.
Okay, you know what? What do you keep telling me? Let it go, let it go.
But anyway, so
The ball can bounce funny sometimes.
that
That's
is
the
true.
whole thing.
That is true. I'm not saying
I
they're invincible.
predict. You know what? Here's my prediction for this
Mhm.
weekend.
Mhm.
The Battlehawks are gonna win.
The Battlehawks are going to win.
In Houston, and kiss my. You know
Hey,
what?
Corey, listen, Corey, I'm going to disagree with you on that one. I went back and rewatched that Defenders game against the Battlehawks, and I know that me and Ed had talked about it, and I know me and Amanda had talked about it. I know Amanda rewatched the game, and all of the fouls that you guys were complaining about were not actual fouls. They were not actual fouls, unfortunately. There was only one missed call, and it was the late hit
against Pro.
on Pro when he was already on the ground, and that should have been a flag. But all the other ones,
They were
not flags. They were
Mhm.
legit. They were legit plays.
They were.
I mean,
were.
Ed, are we right, Ed?
Yeah.
You rewatched the game, right?
Yep.
Go ahead, Daddy.
I hate
You
to
can
say it.
No, I
They
hate
were
to say
right.
it. I mean, listen, it was like Ed said, that DC, once they get into a team's head, right? Hey, David, if you're saying Guardians by 6, bro, I'll take that bet with you because I don't think that's gonna happen.
Did you dream of lollipops and candy last night? Because I know I knew. You must have been dreaming of something.
Here
Hey,
we go.
watch.
The mayor says it because he says, because the fans when he was in Seattle, they had BJ Phillips who actually came on and started winning games for him. And he said that the Battlehawks in Houston should shine. We want BJ during the Houston game. It will mess with Silvers. It definitely will. And right here, I mean, Kevin says it. DC plays smart. They do. They have a very, very good coach. And then look, you got a lady right here who's been a season ticket holder for the St. Louis Cardinals, season ticket holder for the St. Louis Rams, season ticket holder for the 2020 Battlehawks, season ticket holder for the 2023 Battlehawks. And if she's telling you she's never seen a false start by an opposing team.
But here's my thing. Let me say this real quick. DC it's like when you're little kids, right? Whenever somebody does something to you and they like poke at you, right? And they just keep doing it, like
that's what they do.
They're doing it to get at you, right?
Yep, and that's what they do.
DC's still doing it, right? So it's like after the game, AJ went in and said, "Listen, the refs didn't call this and this, and this, and was pointing finger, blah blah blah." Right? What was Silvers doing? Same thing. What happened to him? Bye bye. You were on the sideline. Just shut your mouth.
Good evening, Michael
and play
Langford.
the game.
Yeah,
you're there for one reason and one reason only. Play the game.
Well, I have a feeling that's
you're
why.
You're going to get further by keeping your mouth paper shut. I'm going to tell you right now, from this hyena herself, by keeping your mouth quiet, you're going to get a lot further. Okay?
I have a feeling that's why.
Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know.
I have a feeling that's
Dirty,
why.
Ask me how I know.
Yeah. We're just gonna be quiet on that one.
Yeah,
Anyways,
exactly. Ask me how I know.
We're gonna talk about the. I mean, look, Cole McDonald in 6 games played, right? He's had 211 yards, 11 for 15. He's averaged at 14.1 yards an attempt and 1 touchdown. And he has thrown the longest pass in XFL history of 85 yards.
That was an awesome throw, by the way.
It really was a very good play.
That was a very good play.
Underthrown, but a good play.
Very underthrown. But, I mean, were you watching that game? He literally ran to his left, threw across his body to his right,
Mm-hmm.
and still made a play.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, the kid could play. And if we get Cole McDonald against us on Sunday, we're going to have a problem.
Because he throws for more than 3 or 5 yards. You got to throw for more than 5 yards.
And look, and did you
AJ
notice?
had some great throws in
Yes.
Vegas. Some great throws in Vegas.
Mhm.
I mean, 236 passing yards in that game against
19
Vegas.
straight completions.
Seriously. Let's do it again.
Right.
Yes. I'm
But,
loving the passing.
Yeah, I'm loving it. You know, now we just got to get the receivers to start catching.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
Butler, I love you, but
Akeem Butler is the second leading rusher or receiver in the league, right?
Mhm.
Shepard has really turned it on. And he is the 7th best receiver in the league. Austin Proehl is right there in the top 15. But listen, we need Austin Proehl and Shepard to step their game up. They really need to step their game up, because what I noticed with Cole McDonald, who'd only played a few series, right?
they just both need to connect. Like I said, if it's
Not
not
just-
AJ being on its game, it's the wide receivers. If the wide
Mhm.
receivers are not on their game, then AJ's not. It's like
Look,
like
I
they
mean,
both gotta.
Look, and here,
It's the connection.
you have, and Brian Hill, the second best running back in the game with 307. He's played 5 games, 62 attempts with 317 yards. He's averaging 5.1 yards a carry, and he has 1 touchdown, 8 yards or more for 10, 1 for 20. His longest was 40.
And I must say, the mic not working, I think it kind of worked a little bit.
That's kind of a
I think it
conspiracy
kind of
theory.
helped just a little bit.
I think that was
Right?
kind of his
He
way
did a
to
little
kind of
something.
get the offensive coordinator to just say, "What? Yeah,
Mhm.
can't hear you."
I think it did a little something.
But I think you look at Akeem Butler; he's the
think it showed AJ.
second leading wide receiver in the XFL.
Yes.
You look at him; he's got all the tangible. He's tall. He looks the part. Obviously, it has to be the catches that doomed him in the NFL, because other than that, he should be playing on Sundays, man.
Right. Here's what Andrew said. We only get on the same page for 3 minutes total of a whole game. LOL. And it really does look that way. It does. What I noticed the other day, does AJ move up in the conversation for MVP after last game?
No doubt.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but if the dude can't if it's not working, him doing that on his own and it not working, it showed. He did a great job being able to handle it on his own with not being able to hear.
To me, Silvers
I give him props.
Silvers
AJ
is out of the
definitely did a great
discussion
job.
now, because if you're a league MVP, you don't get pulled from a game in the third quarter. So
I 100% agree with you. You go to your backup, who hasn't really seen everything. Like I said, I just read his stats. He's only played 6 games and had 11 completions for 15 attempts. That's basically all in that game that he had just the other day, right? David said, in fact, I think the Battlehawks have played their best all-around game of the year on Sunday. And I said that. Me, Ed, and Amanda were talking about that. I said, this might be their best all-complete game. Thanks to Kevin, who was the idiot who jinxed us, because we were like, oh, shit, we might actually have a shutout, the first XFL shutout. And then, of course, Kevin opens his big mouth, and what happens? They score 6 points. So we didn't get our shutout thanks to Kevin. I'm going to blame Kevin on that one. But anyways, look, again, Cole McDonald. I have a feeling, it's in my gut, Cole McDonald will be the starter. for Houston coming on Sunday, right?
I would have to agree. Yep.
It's going to be very, very hard. Very, very hard. Oh, okay. So Scott looked this up. Scott said going back to the false starts, Kansas City only had 8 false starts against them last season, and 5 were at home and 3 were away in 20 games. Okay. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just trying to say, tell me when it happens. That's all I'm saying. We're gonna, because like when I watched Cole McDonald, you were watching him do progressions, coming back to players, right? You saw a little bit, because I know Ed, me and you had mentioned that we're like, oh my God, AJ looked at somebody different besides somebody else.
Yeah.
He actually did a couple progressions, right?
Yep.
So if AJ does his progressions, then we win this game. That's what I want to see. But if AJ just goes back to the AJ where he's just staring down Akeem Butler or staring down Ricky Pro or Austin Pro or staring down Demarius Shepard, guess what's going to happen? The balls are going to get dropped. Guys are going to converge, right? I mean, the pass that Shepard made, that diving pass that I don't know how the hell he caught it in the end zone, was on a progression. AJ was doing his progressions and said, oh shit, here, boom, and then hit him. You know what I mean?
But not just that, AJ ran a lot.
He did. He did.
I noticed. He
did
definitely
run a
took
lot.
off and ran a lot this time. Yep.
It's really going to be interesting. Like I said, it's going to be a very interesting game because I think Houston's going to come in with a chip on their shoulder. McDonald has been featured into Player 54, right? He's wanting to show something.
They're going to come in with a chip on their shoulder, but also the Battlehawks also are knowing right now that record of where they're going against the Dragons right now. And they're knowing where they're at.
Yeah.
Where they got to compete.
And they're going to know going into the game where they stand because
Exactly.
Seattle plays Friday night. So
here, so I pull up McDonald just to kind of give it to you, right? In his game against DC, he came in the the third quarter, right? Okay. He threw for 194 yards, 8 for 11, 17.6 yards per attempt, 72.7 completion rating, 1 touchdown, 3 first downs. He had 3 passes over 20 yards or more. You know what I mean? So he had 6 attempts, 37 yards, 1 touchdown there. His longest was 18. He had 3 first downs, 2 touchdowns, or 2 runs for over 10 yards. It ain't like this kid ain't no slouch.
The one thing, too, that hurt Houston against DC is the fact that Houston's defense is all geared on pass rush and sacks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And DC just doesn't throw enough for the defensive line to really impose their will on the game at all. So,
right.
Well, and not just that, but here's the thing. Other than the Battlehawks and Seattle, and let's see, who else has not changed quarterbacks the entire season? And has kept the same QB the entire season without changing.
You know, you're right. I think it might just be
those two teams.
It might be Seattle and the Battlehawks. Might be it. Might really be it. Now, I mean, look, we talk about rushing because, Scott says that's what he needs to do more when he runs. He's great. Look, I mean, he had 4 attempts for 18 yards. 1 was for over 10 yards or more, and he had 1 first down. His longest was 16. Didn't have any fumbles. I mean, when AJ needs to run, he runs. He does it well. I mean, his game against Seattle, he rushed for 5 attempts, 41 yards, 8.2. It had a touchdown.
But it's starting to look like Ta'amu is kind of taking over that job in DC too, because him and Sean King used to change in and out pretty regular, but it looks like this last game, King only had 1 snap the whole game.
Actually, I think you might be right. I think, yeah, he didn't really have a lot. I mean,
No, DC pretty much stayed with one quarterback.
yeah. Well, I mean, Jordan just took what they gave
Oh
him.
yeah, so DC. So there's only been three teams that really have kept the same QB.
No,
all-
DC has done the whole 2 quarterback system.
Yeah,
They've done
just
Oh,
just
really?
recently, it's just recently they've kind of started to go
Mhm.
away from that a little bit because
Yeah.
I think the more the season goes on, the more settled in Tommy's getting.
But AJ
Oh,
has
yeah.
not been traded out with anybody all
he hasn't.
Oh, no.
season long.
So, you go back to the point somebody asked us, do you put AJ in that competition for MVP? Again, depending on how you want to look at
Yes.
the MVP stats, right? Like, how do you want to? I mean, AJ, listen, I mean, I know that,
Touchdown to interception. I mean, if you want to go strictly stats, yeah, it's hard to
right.
argue.
okay,
But
so if you want to do it that way, right? So we'll
AJ's
just go.
definitely held his own this year. I will say that he's done a great job.
Yeah, so okay, if you want to do it that way, right? So let's do it this way. Well, let's compare the 2 quarterbacks, in DC and DiNucci. In both 6 games, DiNucci, the first person I read is going to be this first number I read will be DiNucci. The second number I read will be AJ McCarron. Okay, you guys got it? Are we good?
Mhm.
Okay, you got 1505 to 1322 completions, 146 to 131 attempts, 228 to 194, 6.6 yards attempts to 6.8, completion rating 64 to 67.5, touchdowns 11 to 14, interceptions 8 to 4, first downs 75 to 65, first down completion rating 32.9 to 33.5, passes of 20 yards or more. You have 16 to 17, 40 yards or more, 2 to 2. The longest 65 to 50, and sacks. You have 7 to 20 sack yards, 25 to 102. Here's the set that I really think is funny. Fumbles 5 to 4.
yeah, but the one thing you got to keep in mind is there's got to be a caveat to those turnovers. When did they happen and where were they on the field? How many interceptions has DiNucci thrown in the end zone that you go from a potential touchdown to getting nothing? And how many times has he fumbled when it was down to the bread and butter of whether you win or lose a game and he fumbles the ball away?
Hold
Let's
on.
be
you got-
realistic.
I mean-
The numbers
Stop.
that matter are more in AJ's favor than they are in
Depending on how you want to look at it. How do you want to look at it? Do I agree that AJ should be in the talk? Right here. Should AJ be in the conversation? Yes, he should.
Yep.
Is AJ in the hunt? Yes, he is. To be honest, the player I think that is the MVP, and I don't think any one of the 3 of us can deny it. And if anybody watching this show says that we're liars, then you're an idiot and you ain't watched the XFL at all. Abram Smith. Hands down.
Oh yeah.
Hands down the MVP of this league.
Absolutely.
Hands down the MVP.
He would probably
Yep.
probably be in my top 3. But to me, Silvers is out.
Yeah, Silvers is out. If I'm going
Silvers
to top
is
3,
out, and as far as I'm concerned, if you want to keep DiNucci in there, that's fine. But
Look,
I
you
still
gotta
say
keep-
when push comes to shove, I've got too many bullet holes for DiNucci
listen,
to be
you
an
got.
MVP.
I mean, listen, you got to put him up there. And I mean, look, another guy you could put up there is Jordan Ta'amu because of with his passing and his rushing. I mean, he's got 203 yards rushing, 900 and something yards passing. He had 3 touchdowns as a passer, but he's got 5 or 2 as a runner. I mean, you'd have to put him up there. I'd put him like in that 4 area.
Listen,
right?
I don't care. He's not, honestly, in the end of the day, he's not any better than AJ is really. Let's be honest. He really
Well,
is.
I mean, as a passer, no. As a passer, no. As a more balanced quarterback, I would say yes. That can do both. That as more of a dual threat, he can do more of a dual threat.
I say you got AJ Abram Smith as your two front runners, and DiNucci's in the conversation, but to me, he's a distant third.
See, I would put DiNucci and AJ as 2A and B.
Well, fortunately, we got 4 weeks yet to
I mean, that's true.
figure that out.
Look, I mean, listen, barring Abram Smith gets hurt or somebody figures out how to stop that DC run defense, Abram Smith is your MVP. Now, if you want to do an offensive player of the year, I could put AJ over DiNucci as an offensive player of the year.
Hold on. Where's the recorder at? I need a recorder.
An MVP, I couldn't put him. An MVP, I couldn't put him over
Where's
McCarron.
Arlington at?
But if you talk about offensive player of the year, then I would put AJ over DiNucci as the offensive player of the year.
I need a recorder.
Because you got to figure, DiNucci has led Seattle to 4 straight wins in the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, but
I'm just saying.
You keep talking about
Ready to get
that
started.
like the only way that Seattle can win is DiNucci.
And that's why I would make him their
because
MVP.
when he's throwing the picks in the end zone and he's fumbling the ball away, who are the ones that are saving the Seattle? It's not him; it's their defense.
But
Their
listen,
special
that defense,
teams.
that defense has really got it. But Ed, think about it. How do you throw 4 How do you turn the ball over 4 times and still win a game?
Because your defense is what
That's
what
what
happened?
DiNucci
What
did.
what is the defense doing when DiNucci screws the pooch? They're saving him. They're saving his ass.
That's saying I cannot deal.
I mean, listen, Michael
Ask
Joseph.
the coaches. Ask the coaches if he screwed the pooch.
Oh, they say it. I mean, didn't you listen to Hazlitt when he goes, I'm going to kill you.
I'm going to kill you. And then,
But again, you take DiNucci off that team, right? You take DiNucci off that team. Do they have that many wins? I don't think so.
Who did Seattle play their last Thursday night game?
You can't no, don't say that.
Their last
Do not
Thursday
say that
night
right now,
game,
Dirty,
they
to
were
me.
playing.
Do not say that. He is
What?
not the reason they win all those games. No,
Yes,
he's
he
not.
is.
No, he
All
isn't.
right, okay.
No, he
Ed,
isn't.
The last Thursday night game.
No, he isn't.
I'm going.
Seattle, they were up by, I think it was a touchdown at halftime. And he's walking through the locker room and he's saying, "This game's not over. We got to keep making plays. This game's not over."
That was against Houston.
Yeah, and I'm like, the game's not over because you threw another pick in the end zone when you could have had a touchdown. They should have been up by 2 or 3 touchdowns
Hey,
that game.
listen. Did they win the game? Did they
Because
win
of
the
the
game?
defense.
Did they win the game?
Because of the defense.
Did they win the game?
So just because they won the game, that means all the credit goes to the quarterback?
That's right. That's how it always works. You know
isn't.
that.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
what they
it
say,
is.
but
Oh,
That's
you
how it
better
always
bite your.
We all know. I mean, listen, that's like Kirk Cousins. How you like me now? How you like me now?
No, it's called who that. Who that.
Whatever.
I believe them as long as it's not the playoffs. Then that don't.
I mean, listen, again, I honestly think, again, but I'll say it
No,
again.
you like that? You like
Yeah,
that?
you like that. Look, I'll say it again. You take AJ off the Battlehawks, I don't think they're winning as many games as they've won. Right? That's why they're that. You take Abram Smith off that DC team. I mean, Alstead's a good runner, but he's not Abram Smith. You take those 3 players off those teams, do those teams have as many wins as they do?
But you take Kevin Atkins and London off the defensive line of the Battlehawks, you ain't got a defense on the Battlehawks either.
Yeah, but like right here, though, I mean, has there anybody been balling out more than Michael Joseph on defense?
Well, like I talked about last week, the guy is definitely in the top 3 defensive conversation for Defensive Player of the Year, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, look, we
But-
overlook.
But the guy is beatable.
Right, yeah, but look, let's look at we overlook. We overlook Willie Harvey, our linebacker.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Dude's got 15 solo tackles, 21 assists, total tackles of 36 yards. He's number 4 in the league for tackles. 3 tackles for losses. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he ain't a slouch. You know what I mean? He ain't a slouch, but we overlook him. I mean, Jordan Williams.
Who comes up big when you need him the most? Because you can have all the tackles you want, but Orlando being 0-8 or 0-7, 0-6. If they have a linebacker that's leading the league in tackles, does it mean anything? The only reason he's leading in tackles is because their defense is always on the field because they can't stop nobody. So I mean,
that
tackles.
Is
That's got to be. Yes, tackles are important, and yes, there's times where, but there's who are the big name? Who are the players that come up big when they need to?
Look, I mean, I get what you're saying, right? So
The Battlehawks defense, who has constantly done it over and over and over and over.
Yeah, I mean, okay, Ed. So now I'm gonna blow. So I mean, you got
Listen,
the Vegas.
we're in overtime. This mom's got to go to bed.
I do too. I got to get up in the morning.
Good.
Abram Smith. Now, guys, look. Did you guys see that little bitty crack that Abram Smith ran through?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was the guy sitting right there behind you, Ed, was part of that little little bitty crack.
Which time?
You know, I mean,
Ed, talking about Atkins like that.
Ed, so here, if you're gonna say that, look, here's what I'll say about the Battlehawks. I mean, Battlehawks are number 2 in tackles with 266, but we're last in sacks with 9
until this week.
Okay.
Yeah, how many sacks did we have this week? Because if you take away what we had against the Vipers,
I think we only had 1.
It was probably really sad. We had several sacks against Vipers.
Vegas?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So
how many did we have? I got to know that.
I'm gonna go right now. Hold on. I gotta go to T.
And you wanted me to mute.
What are we looking for again?
How many
defensive sacks for the season?
Okay.
No, I want to know for Vegas.
Versus what they had against Vegas.
Okay, we're going to Vegas, right? Okay.
I just want to know for Vegas.
I am. I'm going
to bed.
Hold on. I'm going to Vegas. View the past games. Okay, here we go. Vegas. Let's see.
We had 2, 3, 4. We had 4 sacks.
We had 4 sacks against Vegas.
4 sacks against Vegas.
He found it before you.
Well, he probably wrote it down. So why the hell is he sitting there asking me if the dummy wrote it down?
I didn't
why are you
write
asking me?
I found it on my phone.
Oh.
I'm a navigator.
For you.
I'm a navigator.
Right, yeah. So 4 sacks. Listen, here's what I'll say. Our defense is very, very well balanced, right? They make the plays when they need to make the plays, right? I mean,
always have.
Yeah, you go in and you score 17 unanswered points in the second quarter. Okay? If they play this game that they played against Vegas and they played against Houston, they could very well easily win the game. What has been hurting the Battlehawks all season, and we can all 3 agree on this, is the dumb penalties that they make.
Yeah.
On both sides of the ball.
No doubt.
Like JJ comes back and he gets legs right out of the gate. I'm like, bro.
Yeah, I mean, that is the problem, is that what has hurt us is we have made dumb plays and have made dumb penalties. We get rid of that. That's a good defense. That's a good defense. They spend a lot of time. That defense spends a lot of time on the field. You know, as Ed says, if you're on the field a lot, you're going to have a lot of tackles, right? You're number 2 in the league with 266 tackles. That's a lot of time on the field.
Yep.
A lot of time. You know, and they're not a very good scoring defense. They've had no fumble recoveries for touchdowns and no interceptions for touchdowns. No safeties.
So you're saying we're due?
I mean, maybe. You know, interceptions, we've had a total of 6 interceptions.
On that note, people, this is B-Hawk Live. This is after hours. This is 9:56 at this point.
Are you ending the show, Captain?
About to wrap it up. This is Mom is tired.
Okay, where are we gonna be at then on Sunday?
Yep, everybody come out to Murphy's on 21 at 10:30. We will be tailgating in the back of the parking lot.
Yeah, remember to go around the back.
Go
Don't
around
come
the
to
back.
front.
At 10:30, and game kickoff is at 1 o'clock. Do not miss out. Everybody come and make it. It's like tailgate like we have it at the game.
Dirty's going to be serving shots out of the dumpster.
And we will have blue shots. Daddy Ed will make sure that everyone gets a blue shot. If y'all come out, don't miss it. I will be there.
It's going to be a beautiful day. You have no excuses.
Is that it? Are we done, boss? You're the boss tonight, Amanda.
On that note, everybody, we are out.